Hello, everyone. Dr. Lisa Faast here from Diversify RX, and I want to dive into the at-home COVID test strategy. Now, many of you might already know that you can dispense at-home COVID tests. Don't worry, there's something in here for you too. I'm going to be talking about some boosting strategies, but I ran into many pharmacy owners at NCPA that were not aware that you can dispense up to 8 tests in a single dispensing every 30 days for patients that are covered on most insurances. Now, so I want to dive into this so that you understand kind of the ins and outs of this. And then for those of you that are already doing this, maybe give you some tips and best practices on how you can even improve your offering of COVID tests. So let's go ahead and dive in. So most patients that have insurance coverage that are qualified health plans are going to be able to get 8 free COVID tests for every covered person on the insurance, and it's every 30 days. So it's not just per household, it's actually per person. And you dispense all 8 at the same time. And these are the at-home testing kits. So the ones that are labeled for at home. So things like the FlowFlex is probably one of the most commons. The iHealth is probably another one of the most commons, but there's many at-home COVID tests. And you bill these like a regular prescription. So you bill them to the patient's PBM, you put in the information, the NDC, 8, you put the day supply 30, and you bill it like a regular claim. It will go through with a $0 copay. And this is good for Medicaid, commercial, and Medicare patients. So everybody's covered if it's a qualified health plan. Some of the share cost services or something like that, health plans, they may not cover it. And you might have to work with your PMS software just to make sure all the fees and the back end stuff is done right if you've never done this before. So if you get any weird error codes, don't just give up. Maybe call your PMS software and make sure that all of the proper data is transmitting properly. So when you do have somebody, a patient come in, the only requirement is, we'll get into kind of the requirements now. So you do not need a prescription for these. You don't have to wait a prescription to come in from the doctor, but you do need a patient to attest or sign that they are requesting these tests. And so you can actually create a pretty easy little sign-up sheet where they can write all the patient's name, write the date of birth, and then sign that they are requesting for these tests. And so you do want to document that every single time you fill it. Please don't just autofill all these and ship them out if the patients do not want them. But what I have found is that most patients do want them. And you can even talk to some employers, and we'll get into that a little bit more kind of on the boosting side, to get these tests if their insurance covers it, and have them ready to go for their employees. So just to kind of go back through, 8 tests for 30 days, most likely going to be a $0 copay. You do not need a prescription. You do need a document that the patient wants them. And then when you do dispense these, you'll get anywhere from $40 to $80 in profit, depending on the total reimbursement and, of course, how much you pay for the test. So that is the opportunity. That is, like many of you, if you've been following me, you might be a little more aware of this kind of stuff. But I actually ran into so many owners that just had no idea, and they're like, "Oh, the opportunity." That's okay. If you didn't start yesterday, the next best time is to start today. So start thinking about this today and how you can implement it into your workflow, whether it's vaccine patients, every patient coming in for a prescription, whatever method you guys want to do. I think this is a very important opportunity for pharmacies that is not going to last forever. So for those of you that are already doing this strategy, I want to help you too. So I'm going to talk about some best practices. So during our drinks, desserts, and drugs events, our networking event that we host at many of these national shows, there was a group of us kind of standing around and exchanging our best practices for dispensing the COVID test. So I want to share with you kind of the summary of all of the best practices from the people that were there. And so I'm going to kind of go through these. So the booster ideas, if you do offsite flu clinics, which is something that my pharmacy does a lot of, where we go to an employer or we go to a school and do offsite flu clinics, as you're arranging those and preparing those, have people sign up to get the 8 free COVID tests. And they don't have to just do it for the employee. The employee can also sign up for their spouse or their children. And that way you can bring all the tests with you whenever you go to do the vaccines. I know that particular boosting strategy is probably going to be a game changer for our pharmacy. Next up is to just send out sign-up sheets. So have your sign-up sheet, send it out to local businesses, send it out to local schools, whether it's around you or far out into the community. Let them sign up, and then you can fill them all and then deliver the test kits to that place of employment. And that way it streamlines the whole process, and you can probably fill for many, many patients, make one delivery, and get all of them dispensed. So I thought that was another really great idea. And then lastly, when you're filling it and it's a part of your workflow, again, don't just think about that one patient that's right in front of you. Ask if there's anybody else in their household that they would like tests for. So again, spouses, and children are obviously the logical extension of the household. So that way, if you're filling for mom, you're also giving tests for, their spouse and any children. So, and don't forget about kids away at college. They can be shipped to the college student. The parent can include it in their next care package or whatever that looks like. So make sure you're taking care of the whole household. So if you need any help with this strategy, we're happy to help you. Oh, the last question I got was where to buy the at-home COVID tests. So there's two places that I currently am recommending. There's obviously lots of places to buy them from. So you buy them from wherever you prefer. But if you don't have any preferred location, we have a group discount deal with RX Rise. You can buy the FlowFlex for $5 flat, and that includes free shipping from rxrise.com. Just mention Lisa or Diversify RX in order to get your discount. And then the iHealth COVID tests, we have a group deal from PromoSons, and you can email Jessica at promosons.com in order to get those tests. And those are $225 a test, and that also includes free shipping. So those are just some group discounts that we have. By all means, you can go source it yourself, but those have been a nice steady, and they have them in stock. They have plenty in stock, and they'll be able to take care of your needs. So if you have any suggestions or want to share some of your best practices, feel free to comment in the section below. I'll put all of the contact information for those companies below as well. So I just wanted to share some nuts and bolts that I had gotten from NCPA, because these some of those boosting strategies were a good idea to me. So I thought they might be a good idea to you. And in case you're one of those ones that just weren't aware that you could be dispensing these tests, I wanted to make sure that you were aware of this opportunity. So feel free to send any questions to info@diversifyrx.com, and I will talk to you again on the next one. Bye-bye.